Being able to tune into the energy of people, places, and events has greatly enhanced my life and allowed me to experience life in ways that continue to feel better and better. And just like it's worked for me, it can also work for you too. In this video, I'll be sharing techniques that I personally use on a daily basis to tune into energy. So we can work with energy in just about any capacity that we can think of, any area of our life, anything going on in our life. We're not limited. This is an energetic universe. We are energetic beings and we communicate in the form of energy, in the form of energetic communication. One example I'll share to get started is crystals. So you can see if you've watched my other videos, I love crystals. I have a variety of crystals. The reason that I like them so much is because they each have such unique qualities and properties. And I love feeling into the energy of them, using them to enhance my energy work. It's just something that I'm personally drawn to. So it's important to know like what you are personally drawn to and what you are not drawn to and to honor that. So just because I use crystals, for example, doesn't mean that you would want to go use crystals. Maybe there's some other avenue or technique that works better for you, some other method or modality. So let's go ahead and talk about that a little bit. For example, when I'm looking for new crystals, I might come across a display and it might have several crystals that look like this. And when I'm looking at them, one or two of them will catch my eye. I'll just start to notice them. I'll be more drawn to them and not to the other ones that are there. And so from there, I might hold the crystal, I might feel it, and I'll start to connect with it. I'll start to tune into it. I'll just get a vibe from it. Like this feels like a yes or this feels like a no. I'm either interested or I'm not interested. And I like the topic of crystals because they have high energetic qualities and properties to them. So it may be easier for people to tune into things like crystals rather than if I had like pens right here that don't have the same kind of life force. Like you're not gonna necessarily be like, oh yeah, I have to have that pen. So one thing that I do on nearly a daily basis is I love to go for walks with my dog. I have a little French bulldog and she's my pride and joy and we love to go on walks together. I just love to be out in nature. And so I have a variety of parks near where I live. There's over 5 different parks that are really easy to get to, really easy to access. And so what I will do on any given day is when we want to go to the park, I'll think of the park, think of like 1 or 2 or 3 will usually stand out as possibilities. And the rest, I'll just know, like, no, I don't really want to go there today. And so, out of the ones that are possibilities, what I will do is I will tune into them by looking at them in my mind's eye. So, since I've been there before, I just imagine what the park looks like. I bring it up in my mind. It's like if you were thinking of somewhere you've been before, it just easily comes up. And when it comes up, I'll start to get a certain feeling about being there. It will just come in right away. Does it feel good to be there? Does it not feel good to be there? And so automatically right away, I'll start to get that feeling. For me, that's what comes up first. Everybody may work a little bit differently, but usually we'll have some sort of impression, whether you feel it or just know it or get a sense of it. Usually right away, you'll kind of be gravitated more towards a yes or a no. And a really good way to recognize whether something is a yes or no is if you feel excited or not excited. If you feel expansive when you think about it, like, oh, this is going to be fun. I wonder what we're going to see. And you feel curious and you feel your energy start to light up versus a no is constricted. It's like, I'm not really sure if I want to do that. I don't know if I'm going to necessarily feel like that today. Like, one is expansive. That's how we know what the yeses are in our life. And one is more constricted. After you tune into the initial feeling of it, then there are other ways to tap into the energy, to tune into the energy, and we'll be covering those later on in this video. But first, I want to go ahead and address a couple other scenarios where you can work with energy so that you can see what it looks like in your life and know like there are so many different scenarios you can use this. So another way that I use this on a regular basis is say I have to go to the grocery store for something. There are several different grocery stores that I can go to typically to get what I need. They'll all have similar but different items, products. And so I will tune into the energy and ask myself, what does it feel like to go to store A right now? What does the energy of that feel like? And it will come back to me with, okay, this either feels fine or, you know what, I really don't want to go there. Really don't want to go there right now. Then I can tune into the energy of store B and see what that feels like. And that one might surprise me with, oh, that feels really good. Like, yeah, that feels easy, simple. I think I'll do that one. So, in any given moment, we have choices in our life. Our life is filled with choices. On a daily basis, we have choices to make. And so, by tuning into the energy of places such as stores, it can be different types of stores. It doesn't have to be a grocery store, but it can be other places that you have to go to. Like maybe you want to try a new nail salon to get your nails done. And you look at a couple places and you maybe have like 2 or 3 different ones in mind. You can also tune into the energy of them and ask yourself, okay, what does it feel like if I go to choice number 1? A lot of times when you're starting out doing this, it's easier to close your eyes because it eliminates exterior distractions. And you can tune into it and you can ask yourself, what does it feel like to go to nail salon number 1? How do I feel like my nails look when I get them done here? Am I happy with the results? Am I not happy? What does it feel like to sit in the chair there? Even though you've never been there, information will still start to come to you. It will either feel good or not good or somewhere in the middle, but all of that is information. And then you can do the same thing with choice number 2 and choice number 3. Each one is going to give you some sort of a message, some sort of a vibration. All you have to do is listen, and the more questions you ask, the more information that has the potential to come back to you. So like I mentioned, you can say like, oh, what do my nails look like there? How do I feel when I check out and leave? Am I excited or am I like, okay, maybe I'll choose somewhere else next time? Like you'll get a feeling, a sense of what it might be like to be there. Another scenario where I always tune into the energy is when I'm planning trips, vacations. So what I will do is I will grab out my calendar, I will look at the dates, and I'll usually have a range. Like I know what month I want to travel in, or I already kind of have a feeling like, oh, I want this to be more towards the first half of the month versus the second half of the month. So I'll just know little details like that. Like we all get a feeling. It's like, why do you choose to travel when you choose to travel? And I think we all have this intuition to some extent because we all just kind of know when it's time to do something, when something's been on our mind, and now it just feels like the time is drawing near or it's getting more ripe. So I'll look at a calendar and then I'll kind of just feel into the dates. Like, does this feel more like it or does this date range feel more like it? And then from there, I will select the dates by tuning into the way that it feels. And then I'll use the energetic techniques that I am about to discuss with you. So if you guys are ready, let's talk about some of the techniques that I personally use. And we're working with energy here. So this is going to be a little abstract. It's going to be a combination of visualization in your mind and sensing feeling in your body. So when we're communicating with our soul, our spirit, the creator, however you want to look at it, when we're having that communication, It's not going to be a dialogue like a person talking to a person, because that's our human form, our human way of doing things is to physically speak words, right? Rather, our internal communication, our intuition, it speaks through consciousness. It speaks through things like visualizations, through the images that form in our mind. It could be pictures in our minds. It could be a scene, like a little movie scene that plays out. It could be a word that flashes through your mind. It could be a thought, a feeling, or an idea, an inspiration. These are all ways that our soul communicates with us, that the Creator communicates with us. Sometimes you might hear something, you might just have a sense of knowing. There are so many different ways that energy communicates with us. I think it's important to be open to that and to know that we are the only ones who validate ourselves. So anytime you have something that sounds like a communication and goes through your mind or that you experience somehow, you are the one who has to validate, is this a yes? Is this true? Or is this a no? Like nobody else is going to be able to do it for you. So the more that you learn what's your yes and what's your no, the easier it is to communicate with energy. And a lot of times, what you'll find is that if you set the yes or no with, say, a method that you have or making a statement out loud, this means yes, this means no, that gives the energy a way to organize itself and to communicate back to you. So now let's go over a few techniques that I personally use, and feel free to take these and use them for yourself if they resonate with you, or if not, they're going to give you an idea of how you can work with energy in your own unique way. All right, so let's talk techniques now. So the first thing that we're always going to do, which is what I previously mentioned, is you're always going to feel into the energy. When you feel into the idea of going to the park or going to the store, is it a yes or is it a no? Is it expansive or is it contracted feeling? Just notice the subtle impressions that you get. Sometimes they'll be very subtle, other times they'll be more obvious. And so what I always like to do is do energy checks. So it's my way of checking to make sure I'm on the right track. And when I do the energy checks, these energy techniques I'm about to share with you, these give me way more feedback typically of whether something is a yes or a no, whether it's right for me or not right for me, how I'm going to feel when I'm doing it, which is so valuable. So first, this one is the most basic, and this is what I call the ball with the line. So in your mind's eye, you're just going to imagine that there is this ball, this energetic ball, just a circle, sphere, however you want to look at it. So in your mind's eye, you're going to imagine an energetic circle, a sphere, a ball, and then just a line that goes across the screen of your mind. So just this horizontal line. And what I do is I look at this ball and I tell myself, if it's a yes, then this ball will just kind of hover. It's not going to drop and go past the line. It will just kind of stay there. And if it's a no, it will go past the line. So I ask myself, is going to this location today or right now, whenever it is for you, is this right for me? Yes or no? And I close my eyes typically when I'm doing this. And if the ball stays there and hovers, then that's a yes. And if it drops, then it's a no. And I typically do at least 2 different energy checks. So this is just one of my favorite ones. Sometimes I also change it up and I imagine it's a bouncy ball and I say if this ball bounces off the ground, so the line bounces and comes back up, it's a yes. But if it just sinks in to the ground, then it's a no. And remember, we're working with energy, so we're defining our own parameters here. We are the ones that define our own parameters. And that's the beauty of this. There is no one technique that you have to use. It's what feels right for you. And this is one of the original techniques that I came up with for myself that felt right for me. And so I've been using this one for a long time. Okay, the next thing that I personally do, and some of these are going to sound funny, but these are just what literally originated within my mind and felt right to me. So the next one that I use for a yes or a no is I imagine myself like skating on water, like just being able to skate across like the top of the water. And if something is a yes, I go across the water smoothly. The water doesn't come up around my feet or anything like that. But if it's a no, I might see that the water like goes up to my ankles as I'm gliding across it, or that it feels like I'm not supported and now like the water is kind of coming up maybe over my feet or towards my feet instead of me just being able to smoothly glide across it. So that's another one. Another one that I do is I like to imagine myself like I'm flying in the air and somehow I'm being supported by something, right? So maybe there's like these imaginary cords on like whatever I might be sitting on, or I'm just kind of like hovering in the sky. And then if something is a yes, I feel excited. I feel safe being up there. Like, yeah, like this is cool. I'm 100% supported. I'm not like wobbling or afraid of anything that's going to happen next. And if it's a no, I will feel the opposite. I'll feel like, whoa, I'm not really sure if I'm being supported. I'm not sure if it kind of feels like maybe I'm falling a little bit. Like there'll be two night and day, like very clear opposite responses. So one is a yes and one is a no. So these are kind of like my techniques that I use. And another one that I started using recently is I'll ask for light or I'll ask for darkness. So light is my yes and darkness is my no. So when I ask the question, is doing this particular activity a yes or a no? Is going here a yes or a no? Do I do this on this day or this day? So I'll pick one day to start with. Is this day a yes or no for this particular activity? And if it is a yes, then I'll see a vision in my mind that is light. I'll just see light, or I'll see the sun rising up. And if it's a no, I might see myself in like a dark cave, or I might see the night sky. And mind you, these are faint impressions. It's not like I'm like, oh, seeing it in vivid detail. It's just I have this inner impression, this inner sense of knowing which one it is. So you don't have to use these same techniques that I use, but these are meant to give you an idea. That's why I'm sharing them with you today, so that you can get an idea of how I'm doing it. And a lot of times, in my own experience, that makes it easier to then come up with your own technique. So if one of these stands out to you, by all means, use it. And if you feel like creating something of your own that's going to work better for you, then please do that. Always listen to your own internal communication. That is the most important thing that you can do, is always listening to your own self. As a personal example, last night I received a text message from someone I didn't know, but that was a contact from the work that I do. So they had gotten my number and they asked if I'd be able to do a specific job later this week. And before I replied, even though I was available on the day that they mentioned, I wanted to check in and ask, is this a yes or a no? And so I tuned in, starting with the feeling, like how did it feel? And I asked myself, closed my eyes and asked myself, if I decide to take this job, does it feel like a yes or does it feel like a no? And immediately I started feeling these very positive feelings. And so then I asked myself another question. How does it feel to be there and to be working and interacting with the people who are there and whatever I'm going to be doing during the day? And it felt very positive. So just very obviously positive. So that was already probably enough information. I probably didn't need any more, but I like to double check everything. That's just my personality. I want to be sure. A lot of times when you tune into the energy further, you can get more information. You can get extra information about things. Different things will come to you. So I use the techniques that I mentioned to tune into the energy further. And with every technique I used, it was exactly the same. It felt expansive, it felt playful, it felt like a very big yes, Y-E-S. It felt really good. And so only after I had done that, then I responded to the text message and said, yes, I will be able to do that. And so, this is just one of the ways that we can work with energy for everyday routine things. Because if I had gotten a weird vibe, if it had felt very constricted, maybe cold, like these type of feelings that don't feel good, or when I was doing the energy techniques, if I had gotten no's, then I would have simply trusted that. The thing is, we can't always think our way into situations or out of situations. And so my mind doesn't know what it's going to be like when I do that job. However, my energy, the energy that exists here right now, the energy of that future event, it said the energy is not really past, present, or future, but rather just a spiral where everything's happening at once. However, you want to think about it, the fact is that energy communicates with energy, and so I choose to trust that when I get a big yes like that, that is the right thing for me, that is the right course of action for me. And I'm glad I can rely on myself and validate myself by using these techniques to communicate with energy and to work with energy. Thank you so much for watching today. I hope that you found the techniques and examples discussed useful and helpful, and that you are able to work with energy and use some of these techniques in order to enhance your life and to tune into energy, to tap into energy, and get back information that helps guide you to make decisions that are right for you. If you have any questions, feel free to leave them in the comments. Otherwise, I will catch you in the next video.